I'm Mark Saxon. This is Back to the Drawing Board. Thanks for joining me. Brought to you by E5280 Sports. Be sure to visit on all platforms. We are there. And happy Friday to y'all. And we are back. So, college football getting pretty interesting. Penn State handing it to Boise. And, we were all rooting for Boise, but I figured Penn State would be too much. On New Year's Eve, 31-14. Boise really just couldn't get anything going. That defense kind of stuck in there, did their thing. It was one of those things. Like I said, we are all rooting for Boise. I think we just all knew the outcome. Now, this one where I thought I knew the outcome. I mean, they ended up winning, but ASU and Texas. I figured Texas would handle them. Tip your caps to ASU going in there, hanging tough. I mean, probably should have came away with the win. Had their chances in overtime. I mean, yeah, that was a missed call. Everybody's talked about it. My personal opinion is I really feel like the refs were kind of letting the boys play. There was, we've seen all the replays on the Pat McAfee show and all over Sports Center. You can argue back and forth whether Texas did it to ASU. Whether ASU did it to Texas earlier on in the game. I don't know. It's tough. It really is tough. That targeting rule is real finicky, I think. I am sad the ASU lost. Not that I'm a fan. I really was rooting for them, Scatabo and everything else, doing work. But I feel it would have been worse if a call that they are still questioning would have been called to decide the game. I don't know. It's a tough one. Either way, tip your caps to ASU. Scatabo with the MVP, the losing team of the MVP. Something that's never been done before. Excuse me. Went down the wrong pipe there. Something that's never been done before. So that was cool to see. Um, yeah, just kind of disappointed, but hell of a game, both sides. Real disappointment in Oregon getting smashed. It wasn't even close. 41-21. Ohio State proving might be their year. So I don't think anything was as shocking as Notre Dame not only winning, but handling the Georgia Dog. The Mean Machine and the Red and Black did not show up, losing 23-10. So some excitement. There were talks about the all the teams that had the bye lost and this and that, and I don't know. I mean, we've had this discussion in all sports where, oh well, the bye really messes you up, but that's what you play for, right? In baseball, you play for the bye, you play for home field advantage. In the NFL, the same thing. I mean, it comes to a point in time where, for the most part, each team had their opportunity to win except for Oregon. Oregon blew it from the start, but each team had their chance to win, in my opinion. So I think the bye. I'm really getting sick of that excuse. Well, the momentum, but yeah, you got to build your own momentum, though, right? Those other teams built their own momentum, but they didn't have the bye. They continue to play. It costs to be the boss, right? Costs to be the boss. You're gonna get that bye. I'm sick of the excuse. Well, they don't get to play as much or as many games and this and that. Okay, so what are you gonna do? Throw the last few games so you don't get the bye? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to do there. I'm frankly, I'm sick. I'm sick and tired of that argument. You had your chances, right? You had your chances, and before the game even started, you know exactly who you're playing. You know exactly what they're coming with. So I mean, you got to put up or shut up, and that's kind of where I'm at with that first round bye. Moving on, the World Junior Hockey Championships. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, June 4th, as Sweden takes on Finland and the United States take on the Czechs. And the United States have been just tearing everybody up as the United States beat Switzerland 7-2 in the quarterfinal after pounding on Germany, pounding on Canada. I mean, what an exciting way to go! And I'm going to tune in tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Hmm. Winner of each game plays on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Loser both play in the third or in the gold medal game and third place game um, earlier on that day. Once again, I was talking about it earlier too. The United States scored 10 goals against Germany, and the United States goal horn will go off, and then the solo for Freebird will play every time they score. I think that is legit. I can't wait to hear more of that. And those young men have been just tearing it up. So can't wait to see that. I'm going to definitely tune in for that. And hopefully, the United States coming away with the gold there. Now, going on to the NFL where we wrap up the season. Going to be some interesting games as the Broncos are still winning in the AFC side, needing a Steelers victory over the Bengals. The Dolphins need, I believe, Denver to lose, and they're in, and Denver and Cincy to lose. Sorry, and a win with them. So the Dolphins will play the Jets. Yeah, you never know with those two teams. The Broncos play the Chiefs. Chiefs are sitting everybody, so that'll be interesting to see what goes down there. And on the other side, it's pretty much sealed. You have right now, as it stands, you have Minnesota at number one. You have Philly at number two. The Rams at number three. Tampa at number four. Detroit at number five. And the Packers or I'm sorry, Washington number six, and the Packers number seven. As the well, I'm sorry, Minnesota and Detroit will be decided Sunday night. So we'll see. I don't know. The Lions are banged up. Uh, Vikings coming off of a big win against the Packers, holding them off. Being a Packers fan, I was pretty pissed off about that. We had our opportunities to win, blew it. I don't know. It's going to be an exciting postseason. On the other side, you got the Chiefs number one, Buffalo number two. Could go either way there. Number three is Baltimore. Number four is Houston. Five, Pittsburgh. Chargers number six, and that seven spot, like I said, Cincy, Miami, or Denver, up in the air there. Once again, guys, I truly don't think it's as cut and dry as mainstream media would like you to believe. I mean, right now it could on that AFC side, it could be Denver and Buffalo, the Chargers and the Ravens, Steelers and the Texans, and all of those games could be up in the air, in my opinion. Denver, if they figured out come in hot, come up against against the Buffalo Bills early, get a few early scores, maybe a few early stops. You never know. The Chargers, if they're able to get out of their own way and stay away from the turnovers, that defense is one of the top in the league with points against. You never know. And then Houston, I mean, yeah, they've got some terrible injuries. Stroud not looking like he did last year, but Pittsburgh, they've got this thing where they get to the playoffs and they're not quite the same. Injuries and everything else had a lot to do with that in the last few years. We'll see. I'm just saying, I think all of those games could be up in the air. And then on the other side, you could either Detroit or Minnesota against Tampa. And Tampa, it can play that real pesky team. You never know, right? You never know. And then obviously you got the Falcons that could weasel their way in if Tampa kind of blows it there. I don't see that happening. Washington and the Rams. I think the Rams are going to seal that. I don't see the Rams dropping um, their game against the Seahawks. It's at home. They've been on a hot streak. The Seahawks is going to be tough opponents. Obviously, it's division rival. It's going to be tough. I don't see them dropping it though. And then Washington coming on. Jaden Daniels having a hell of a year. That whole team, I mean, that defense having a hell of a year. They can be that team that can sneak away and make a deep playoff run if teams aren't careful with them. Then you got the Packers and the Eagles. Jalen Hurts going to be coming back. I don't quite know any other injuries. The Packers pretty much coming back healthy. Jair Alexander still out, amongst a couple other defensive players. That's a game where, hey, they won. The Eagles won in week one. Both teams are now got nothing to lose at this point of the season. Could be interesting. I think you know the Packers could be saying, or should be saying, hey, they got us last time, not this time. Why not us? The Eagles trying to make a deep run. I mean, it's going to be great. I think this is going to be the best playoffs we've seen in a while. And those number one seeds, man. Like I said, I'm not convinced by the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes should be coming back healthy by the time they play, but they haven't really been blowing anybody out of the water. I've said this before. Their offense really isn't that scary. They've got some great play calls, and they've gotten some lucky no calls or calls in their favor. A lot of people say it's rigged and this and that. I don't really believe that, but I also believe that they got certain calls because of certain players on the team. It happens all the time. They used to do it with Brady all the time. They used to do it, uh, you know, for um, uh, drawing a blank on his name. Donovan McNabb back then with the Eagles. I mean, it just happens where certain guys will get certain calls in certain points of the season. But once again, I don't think anybody should be fearing the Chiefs at this point of the year. I just you go back and you look at everything and how many times they've squeaked away with a win. I just I think that in itself says it's wide open. And even though it does have to go through Kansas City, it doesn't mean that, we got to watch out. I mean, obviously, got to watch out with any team in the playoffs, right? Same thing with Detroit and in Minnesota. Detroit's really banged up right now with their defense. Minnesota, I mean, they showed some chink in their armor where, like I said, the Packers should have won. I mean, there was a couple of times where the Vikings should have lost, not only against the Packers but throughout the season. I think this is wide open. I don't think this is any one team's way to go. The shoe in. There's not really any heavy favorites like we would have thought maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. Injuries, and everything else have a lot to play into it. So I'm excited. I can't wait. Folks, enjoy this weekend of sports. It's going to be phenomenal. I cannot wait. Thanks again for joining me. And this is Mark Saxon, back to the drawing board.